Hi, my name is Aminat. I'm the founder of Kande Collection, which is a contemporary and African-inspired clothing brand. And our mission is to redefine contemporary fashion in a way that integrates African fashion into the luxury fashion industry, but with a modern touch. The name Kande Collection actually comes from my last name. So my name is Aminat Akande. So I literally just took my last name and took off the A at the start of my last name and just kept it as Kande and included collection. But it's really about an expression of my identity. So I really wanted the brand to touch on the aspect of me being a Nigerian woman who is living in the western part of the world and wants to be able to express my cultural roots. And the best way for me to express it is through my clothing and the way that I dress. So Kande Collection is all about connecting people to their roots and also educating people about African fashion. So I felt that attachment part of my name is a reminder to me that I can, express a part of my identity, a big part of my identity as well, through my heritage. So that's how it came about. I started Kande Collection in my final year of uni, which was in 2020. It was something that kind of came about through exploration of just wanting to learn how to sew, really. And I feel like at that point of my life, I just really wanted to find what I was passionate about. So yeah, in university, I had an opportunity to actually do a fashion show for Black History Month. For one of my friends who was the president of the African Caribbean Society at the time. And then I just thought, why not? Let me just, put a few things together. And then I made a few things and presented some of my designs at the fashion show. And people really, really loved it, actually, to my surprise. And after the show, they came up to me and they would ask me, oh, is this available for sale? And I was thinking, no, it's not, but not yet anyway. So that really just made me think about, turning my skills in sewing and designing into a business. So that's pretty much how it kicked off. So I have no sort of traditional background whatsoever in fashion. So I actually studied economics at university and I didn't have any sort of formal training in textile design and learning how to sew. I actually taught myself how to sew back in 2017 and since then it's just stayed with me, I guess. So yeah, that's how I sort of fell into it. I remember when I was younger, my sister would say that I would always be sketching all the time and I would always be the person designing outfits for me and my family when we'd go to cultural parties. We'd have a lot of Nigerian weddings, anniversaries. So I would always be the person in our family that would be designing clothes for everyone. But I never really saw much to it. I never really saw it going anywhere at the time. It was just something that I did purely for fun. But as I got older, and I guess as I started to, learn how to sew, things were just clicking and it just made me want to pay more attention to my flair, I guess, for fashion that I believe I had whilst growing up. So that's where it came from. One of the things that really scared me at first was wanting to start a fashion business because I know that I'm someone who appreciates a lot of fashion and a lot of fashion brands that are around. So that was the thought of entering a market where there's just so many established businesses was very intimidating. But I had to go back and really think about my why. My why being that I really want to change the landscape of how the fashion industry looks like, especially in the western part of the world. I thought that there's not enough cultural celebration or cultural inclusion when it comes to the mainstream fashion industry, at least in the western part of the world. So I had to really go back to think about my why and how I am different from everyone else. The fact that I don't see a lot of businesses like myself is my selling point, is my offer to people. So I feel like that helps me and it encourages me along the way because I know that something needs to be changed and me entering the market is a step for me to make that change. Yeah. I never really started passion to start a business. Like, I never really had that in mind. I never even thought that would be a possibility for myself. Like I said, I studied economics. Like, the traditional route for me would be to go and work in finance, really. So I never saw that happening at all. But I'd say me falling into the whole idea of business has been really exciting. It's been really rewarding, and just seeing how people understand what I'm trying to do with Kande Collection. So I think it's been nice, it's been eye-opening, and it's been rewarding in that sense, because it seems that there is a need for the products and the service that I'm trying to offer, and how I'm trying to redefine the fashion industry. There's also been some challenges along the way, I have to be honest, but I think that challenges come with everything in life. But I think because it's something I'm so passionate about, I'm able to embrace the challenges and more so look at them as like learning experiences, and just, I guess, the cycles of being a business owner. I always say to myself, I'm so glad that I studied economics at university, because it's taught me about the business side of things and where to make your investments and how to make smart investments. So if I'm, for example, if I'm trying to work with a new manufacturer, what is an effective cost that I could work with that would make sense for my business, and how about price my products? So I think having that knowledge of being an economics student at university has really, really helped. It's really been beneficial, and I think it's good to always consider how your skills can be transferable in different areas of your life. And I feel like I definitely have taken advantage of that when it's come to my university degree and my business as well, even though it's, kind of a polar opposite kind of fields. So yeah, I think it's really been helpful in that sense. When I first began my business, I was actually making all the products for myself, and I was also working full-time. So you can imagine that's a lot of work for just one person alongside the other 100 things that I have on my to-do list. So I think at that time I realized I needed some help with manufacturing, because I couldn't do it all by myself. But it's not very easy to find manufacturing. It took a lot of time, a lot of research, and yeah, it's just something that you have to be really persistent about. And I felt that at the time it was important for me to kind of make those connections in terms of manufacturers that will help my business in the long term, because I knew that I wouldn't be able to offer up all of my time with the other commitments that I have in my life. So I would say that was the first challenge, and thankfully I've somewhat overcome that. I think that it also can sometimes be an ongoing challenge, because you might have to deal with bad manufacturers and sort of like switch and test other manufacturers as well, and that could also be a timely and costly process. So yeah, that is, I think, one of the main challenges really. A second challenge I would say is, the financial aspect of starting your own business. So all of the products that you see are just fully invested by my own savings. So I didn't have any helping hand from any family members. It's just purely been my own money. And obviously to some people that might seem like a risk, but because I believe so deeply about what I'm trying to achieve with Kande Collection, I thought that I could do it. But I feel like it comes to a point where you want to be able to pump more money into your business so it can grow at a faster rate. But I just have to always manage my finances as well to make sure that I'm not, burning out all the cash available. So I'd say that's definitely another challenge with running a fashion business as well. And I'd just like to also speak about like maybe the emotional kind of side of things. People see the work that you do on the outside, but they don't consider, I guess, maybe some of the mental challenges that could happen with running the business. Sometimes I might think, is it even worth it? Like what I'm doing, like how is this going to all end up? Is it going to completely flop? And, people might laugh at me. So I think there's just always that kind of thought at the back of my mind, but I just try and, I try to not let it consume me. And I try to just stay focused on the mission and not worry about the opinions of other people. Because I feel like in business, you have to be your biggest cheerleader as well, because no one else is going to do that for you. You have to motivate yourself. my advice would be to know your why, really understand your why, because I guess starting the business and starting a fashion business in particular is not the easiest of things. It's not impossible, but you really need to have something to reference back to understand why you started and to also set yourself apart from the very saturated market. So I would say understand your why and really work on your mental, like your mental space, and make sure it's in a good place, because there's so many things that can come your way, so many thoughts that can try and infiltrate your mind as you go on the process, so many opinions from people that can just come into your mind and try and like distract you from your vision. So I'd say, yeah, definitely protect your mind and your mental state. Comparing my latest collection to like the very first collection that I made. So when I started my brand, I was pretty much obviously making the pieces by myself and using a lot of pre-made African Ankara, like traditional fabrics. But now my recent collection, we actually go on to design our prints from scratch. So we use a digital, we work with a digital designer, and we actually create a mood board of what we're trying to evoke, what feelings we're trying to evoke, and also connect that to traditional African, I guess, culture. And we really try and design our own prints so it's unique to the brand. So we can create that, and then we then translate that onto our fabric, and then we use that to actually make the pieces afterwards. So that's pretty much how like the inception of, I guess, Kande, from where it was when I first started and how it is now. So we're really just trying to, tell more stories through the prints. So we want people to look at the prints and be like, wow, that looks interesting. Can you tell me more about it? And yeah, I think that's where we're at now in terms of like our designing stage and how we hope to go in the future. Aside from my heritage, I think a lot of things like life, my experiences through life, interactions with people, really, I guess they really help in terms of how I design my clothing, and also music as well. I feel like there's so many different ways you can tell stories of people that you meet or encounters that you've had in life through clothing. So when it comes to the cultural aspect of the design, I, take a lot of like the African prints and really try and incorporate it into the Western lifestyle. So that's the fusion, really, I think, and that's sort of how I kind of approach my inspiration, I guess. So this is the Ayana dress. It's actually from our recent collection, and it's been one of our best sellers. So the thing that makes it really amazing is the fact that we've done a digital print on this dress. So as I mentioned previously, a lot of our prints are made with surface print designer, and we typically like to incorporate some of the moods, some of the cultural elements of our African roots into the prints that we design. So that's what you see here. We have a lovely transition of like the greens, the purples, the reds, which gives it a nice sort of tropical feel, especially if you want to go on holiday. And also you have like the back detail, which is like a low back detail, and a lot of ladies love this design. And then you can also like tie it up at the back. It's just a really lovely and a nice feel because it's made of like silk fabric. And we've also decided that we wanted to put some pleats in the dress, so it gives it a nice flowy feel, as you can see. This is one of like a menswear sort of two-piece shirt. So it comes with matching trousers. And yeah, this is sort of like a tailored fit, but like it's inspired from like a kaftan kind of design. We have like the covered up buttons, and we typically like to follow this kind of detailed scheme on a lot of our pieces. So you can see that the buttons here like covered, and this is like a military style, inspired by like the police force in Nigeria and their uniform. A big highlight was actually showcasing my designs at the African Fashion Awards in 2021. So that was our big, like our first ever like really really big showcase. Like obviously after I finished university and the done the showcases that I did at university, this was like the first sort of showcase that was in the public eye, and it was a very prestigious event in Mayfair. So we had the opportunity to showcase our designs there, and it was just a wonderful event. And I think it was just lovely to hear so many great and amazing comments from people, from even designers as well, established designers, knowing that I was probably only a year into the game. So that was really, really amazing. I would say another like highlight would be our first pop-up shop in Oxford Street, which we had last year. That was an amazing turnout, and it was just amazing to see that people would come in. They've never heard of the brand before, but they would still come in. They'd be attracted by the colours and what they could see just from the window, and they would come in and ask more questions about where it's from and how the prints are made. So that's really what Kande Collection is about. It's about having that entry point to educate people and to also make them look good, of course. So I would say those are like the main two highlights of Kande Collection story so far. So our upcoming collection should be really, really exciting. We're planning to release a few more designs, hopefully by the summer this year. A lot of exclusive prints again. And yeah, we're really just trying to take it up a notch. So we're hoping to also do a lot more pop-ups, because we realised that, you know, with being an e-commerce business, it's also great to actually just go out there and to interact with customers and to also build a community offline as well as online. So definitely more pop-ups, hopefully a lot more fashion shows as well. And yeah, just really getting out there, getting more awareness for the brand, and bringing more people into the community. So yeah, that's what we're really aiming to do now. So you can find us on Instagram at Kande_collection, and you can also find us on our website, which is www.kandecollection.com, but also on Facebook, which is official Kande Collection. And thank you so much for tuning into this interview. I hope to see you connected on our social media pages. See you soon. Bye.